Everyone, Mr. Solomon here, and I welcome you to a quick little demonstration video of the new skills that arrived with Arcadia 3. Now then, when you are first running through the Dungeon of Destiny for the hero quest, you will come across the six heroes, and they will give you each a skill to help you damage and protect yourself from the boss, Destiny. Now then, there's 6 of them you get in order. You get the first 4 after each mid-boss, and then you get the last one just before you fight Destiny. So let's start with the first one, Skypie skill. As you can see here, the weapon physical attack is pretty high. It's pretty good. It can be used by any weapon by any class, and its cooldown is 5 seconds. It can hit 5 enemies at most. Now then, I'm going to show you this skill right now. Is Sword Dance. Now then, I'm going to show you a bit of difference between it and the regular Sword Dance. Let me stand right here as a distance marker. As you can see here, just about halfway into the portal distance-wise. Let's look at Skypie skill. Much further. Yes, very further actually. That's because... So this skill has the advantage of having much higher range than the standard Sword Dance. Not to mention, it hits about the same number of enemies anyways. But it has higher range and damage at the cost of a slightly higher cooldown. This Sword Dance cooldown is 3 seconds. Skypie skill is 5 seconds. It's not really a major issue in PvE. PvP, maybe you'd prefer the regular one, but for a class like Dragoon or Overlord, you got enough filler skills to actually circumvent the need to use Sword Dance anymore. Whereas for other classes, I could see this being useful in terms of, you know, just a little bit of aid and ground damage, but that's just about it. There we go, just another demonstration of the range. Goes much further. I believe it's the same range as level 5 or level 10 Sword Dance. I don't know the exact number. Anyways, the next skill is Manire's skill. As you can see here, it doesn't really do any damage or anything. It's got a 3-second duration and a 30-second cooldown. Now that may seem like not like much, but let's activate it and I'll show you. It's going to give you a shield for 3 seconds. There it goes. But anyways, whilst the shield is active, you take about 90% reduced damage, which you may be thinking, like, is this usable in PvP? Because I can think of a number of PvP scenarios where that'd be very strong. Well, unfortunately, no. The development team saw it coming that this skill could be open to some potential abuse in PvP, and they blocked its use in PvP. But a 3 seconds of great damage reduction, it actually works wonders when you're under geared in the Dungeon of Destiny, because the monsters there hit ridiculously hard, so specifically the bosses. So it's useful to be used as a safety measure against the bosses, but that's just about it. Normally I demonstrate this to monsters. In fact, let's go somewhere with monsters. Let's go to Perimeter B. It's the highest level map in the game. That's not a dungeon, so as you see here. See, it hits slightly higher there. But let's use Minere's skill. See, it only hits 5 on me normally, 86 on me otherwise. So yeah, it's about 90%. So it's a pretty good skill right there for, you know, in case something's about to hit you with a ton of damage. Maybe Elga's Fire Breath in the second phase, the homing orbs for the Elga boss, you know, stuff like that, or other hard-hitting bosses like the Keymart or Fire Fiend's Fire Breaths in the Destiny dungeon. You know, standard hard-hitting attacks. It's good to shave up that much damage. I mean, in that dungeon, using that skill before Keymart Fire Breath makes every hit me for like 700 instead of 7,000, which is pretty good. Anyways, the next skill is Parmir's skill, or as I like to call it, Parmir's Rocket, because it is the Hunter Rocket skill. Much like the Hunter Rocket, if you're in a place with a roof above you, the rocket will hit the floor immediately and apply its damage immediately. This is one of the skills that I don't think are going to have too much practical use. It can quickly be casted alongside the Skypie skill with about similar cooldown. So you can do this quick little double tap like that for double hit, which is pretty cool. Its damage calculation range, and I'll show it to you now, actually. Let me go to a safe spot and show you. Because I was just showcasing the damage. Is 300% plus 1,000, which actually is kind of hard hitting. I think its damage is definitely good. It's one hit. The thing is that unlike the regular Hunter rocket, where at high enough level it starts to launch, this one doesn't launch. Now, you could take that as an advantage or a disadvantage. It's usable in PvP, so, you know, in PvP you might have like a little extra hit there, like a little bit of extra hit. It does a lot of damage with crits, you know, something like that. But it's not really the best in my opinion. The Sword Dance one keeps the Sword Dance flinch, and the Manere skill has like a good use. I mostly use this one to just damage Destiny's shield because it shares a cooldown with the Skypie skill, so you can kind of just like double cast them like that to do 2 hits quickly. Anyways, the next skill is Belkan's skill. Now this one's my personal favorite. Damage range is 150% plus 300. It is the Rolling Stinger skill for the Rogue class. As you can see, the only thing is that it doesn't do the electric flinch. It's also, I think, at a slightly higher cooldown, but I'm not sure. I'll have to check. Don't remember much. It just does regular flinching, which is its only flaw, but it does do good damage. I consider it a very nice damage filler skill. I use this all the time in Destiny Dungeon because I can't use Death Stinger in there. So, yeah, it's very good. It's a very nice skill. Good damage calculation. Decently low cooldown. Good duration. It hits like a good 6 or 7 times in that 3 seconds, which is pretty nice for damaging skills. It's very useful on bosses, very useful on normal enemies. It's very useful. The next skill is the Paris ones, and we'll start with the first and obvious one, Paris's Revenge. It gives you a revenge aura, which makes it to where you reflect the damage of like the next hit you take. See? And it reflects with a 100% ratio. It's disabled in PvP, which is unfortunate, but for obvious reasons. But it is what it is exactly. It's a damage reflection skill. Again, I don't see very much use of it because only bosses that can hit me at my defense for pretty hard are Dungeon of Destiny bosses. Or maybe Elga. But it's not going to be worth it to do that much damage to them when, you know, I could do 2 million damage in the matter of 2 skills. You know, you see what I mean? By like this point in the game, level 85 with max gear, the reflect skill isn't going to be worth it. So I think it's something that needs a bit of an up-tuning. And lastly is the Paris attack. Weapon physical attack power seems kind of low, 40% plus 500. This is a completely new skill. Let's go and showcase it. Basically, you spin around in a circle shooting red bolts at people. They do decent damage per hit, and this is one of those skills where it's better on bosses than it is on normal enemies. And the reason being is that when you're fighting a boss, the boss has a much larger hitbox, so they actually end up taking multiple bolts at once, so you end up doing much more damage with it. And this is no more evident than in the Destiny boss himself with his shield. This attack shreds his shield much faster than any of the other hero skills because you take advantage of Destiny's huge hitbox. And then other bosses in the game also have large hitboxes that you can use the skill on. Unfortunately, I don't think this skill applies groggy that well to bosses, but if it did, it'd be pretty cool. It'd be pretty nice as a tool to help fight Elga with or something like that. But it's still good against Elga because he's the biggest boss in the game, so he's going to take multiple hits from this attack easily. I just figure it's better against bosses with large hitboxes than it is against smaller enemies. Like, it can wipe out a group of enemies like that, as you just saw, but those are low HP enemies. And you have to put yourself completely still. It's very vulnerable to getting interrupted, just like the Belkan skill. So, it's very tricky. But anyways, all 6 of these skills are usable by every class that has completed the Arcadia quests up to the Destiny boss fight. And only the Minirae and Paris Revenge skill are blocked in PvP. So I'm interested to see how people are going to incorporate these into PvP. I feel like the Belkan, maybe the Paris, are going to get a lot of use. Skypie is probably going to get the most use because it applies the same flinch that Sword Dance does. See here the quick knockdown flinch. If it's a little easier on the lag walk, then maybe it'd be very popular. I could definitely see like archers, like destroyers, and you know, maybe stuff like bandits and assassins using it very well. But anyways, I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you guys next time for more content. Arcadia 3 is a big patch. It's got a lot to show, but I'm busy farming my my 5th hero weapon. Yeah, I'm getting there. See you guys next time.